Good morning, students. Students, as I mentioned in previous lectures, the student life is in fact a period of preparation. A student has to learn and prepare himself for the challenges of life. You may observe today's challenges, what tough and difficult time is passing. So, you have to lead a disciplined life. You have to utilize your potential and energy in the right direction. You have to be truthful and pure of heart. You have to keep a good company and ignore bad company and dirty politics. You have to keep in mind a strong character. You have to develop your talent and broaden outlook. You have to develop social responsibility, willpower, and the capacity of hard work. You have to be worthy of the confidence the notion and the nation has in yourself. In this way, you have a golden opportunity to study as well as for other activities. In previous lectures, we have studied question number 1 and 2 of exercise 1.5. In the same continuation, we have to start our task solving question number 3rd onwards. As you know, question number 4 is already discussed in previous lecture, semicircle method, when it was being discussed how to represent irrational number on number line or real number line. At that time, two methods were discussed there. One was spiral method and second was semicircle method. You have to go to previous lecture and see. There I have discussed. At the time I told you to solve question number 4 of exercise 1.5. So you will see that lecture. If still you have problem, so you may ask, but I have discussed question number 4. Today I have to solve question number 3rd and question number 5. Let us start question number 3rd. In question number 3rd, it is a kind of argumental questions. We have to prove how pi is not equal to c upon d, because you know pi is irrational number as I have discussed here, and c upon d indicates a kind of number which is written in the form of p by q. C by d means circumference upon diameter, or ratio of circumference upon diameter, and this is written in the form of p by q. And anything which is written in form of p by q where the value of q is not equal to 0, so that will be a kind of rational number. So this is the definition. So pi itself is irrational number because it is indicating a decimal which is non-terminating, non-recurring, whereas c upon d is the ratio of 22 by 7. If we find the ratio of circumference to diameter of a circle, so it is always 20:7. So in this way, we have to show that how pi is not equal to c upon d, because irrational number cannot be equal to rational number. Both are different things. Pi is different to that of c upon d. The value of pi is irrational number, whereas c upon d indicates a non-terminating repeating decimal, and that is a kind of rational number. So let us see what the calculation according to mathematics is there. See here, it is the value of c. Pi is here. Pi equals 3.141592653589 dot dot dot. It means which type of decimal is there? Is it a repeating block here? So obviously it will be no repeating block is here. You can decide it. Frankly, nothing is repeated here. No any repeating block is there. So this indicates dot 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 indicates non-terminating, and this one nothing is repeated, so that will be non-recurring decimal. So as a whole it is non-terminating, non-recurring decimal. If this type of decimal is there, so it results what? Irrational number. Always it results a kind of number, and that is kept in other group, other category, and that is a category of number that is irrational number. Now see, C upon D. If we find the ratio of C to D, means circumference of circle to diameter of circle, so always a ratio is there. And what ratio is there? It is always 22/7. If you simplify this into decimal form, it will be 3.142857, and bar is there, covering how many repeating block? A repeating block containing 6 digits. It contains 6 digits. So which type of this decimal is there? It is dot 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 here. So it means it is non-terminating, but something is repeating here. So this is indicating non-terminating repeating decimal. If it is non-terminating repeating decimal, so we can categorize it into a rational number. Clear? It means what? If this one is supposed equation number 1 and this one is supposed as equation number 2, now compare the value of 1 and value of 2. The value of 1 is irrational number, the value of equation number 2 is a rational number, and irrational number cannot be equal to rational number. If we compare 1 and 2, so what will be the result? Comparing 1 and 2 implies what? Pi is not equal to C upon D, because it is non-terminating, non-recurring. This one is non-terminating recurring decimal. So non-terminating, non-recurring cannot be equal to non-terminating repeating. So pi equals is not equal to C upon D. It means there is no any contradiction between pi and C upon ratio D. Why? Because pi is irrational number and C upon D indicates a rational number. So no contradiction is there. You will write here, no contradiction is found between pi and C upon D. Now it is noted down in the question, if pi equals C upon D, how do we write? How can we write it? If we can write this by the following observation. What observation is there? The value of pi is taken, approximately value is given, and it is taken approx value of pi. What value of approx pi is there? We may take here value of approx pi 3.14. Approx value is taken. So similarly I have taken here the value of C upon D, and C upon D is approx value will be 3.14. So C upon D is also 3.14, but this one is approx value, and pi equals 3.14. This one is not total value of pi, this one is approx value of pi. On the basis of approx value of this one and approx value of this one, if we compare pi and C upon D, we find that pi is approximately equal to C upon D. It is not equal to C upon D, but approximately, as far value is concerned, approx value is concerned, for that point of view, pi will be equal to C upon D. So after comparing, if taking approx value of C upon D, so pi is equal to C upon D if approx value is taken. But you should be cautious, pi never equal to C upon D, as we have proved here. At this stage we have proved by equation number 1 and 2, pi is not equal to C upon D. It will be equal only when the value of pi and value of c upon d is taken approx value. So approximately pi will be equal to c upon d because both the values are containing equal numeric value, and that value is approx numeric value, not exact value. We have taken approx value. For approximate value of pi and c upon d, we can say pi equals c upon d only for calculation work, but basically pi is not equal to c upon d. So there should not be any contradiction between pi and c upon d. I think you will be able to differentiate pi and c upon d. Students, it is a turn of solving question number 5. What to do in question number 5? We have to rationalize denominator. Denominator is a kind of irrational number. We have to convert this irrational number into a rational number, only denominator. For this purpose, several steps are there, several methods are there. It is of two types, not only two types, one more types are there. So we have to find out firstly rationalizing factor of denominator, which can rationalize denominator. Since denominator is irrational number, so we have to convert this denominator into rational number, and for this purpose we are required rationalizing factor. It is a factor which can rationalize denominator. So we have to find out rationalizing factor of denominator, not of numerator. So always we have to focus upon denominator, not of numerator. Numerator is secondary. The primary part of this question is denominator. So we have to rationalize denominator. How can we rationalize? Some certain rules are there. Following the rules, we can solve this question. Try to follow what rule and what method is there, which is followed solving such type of questions. See, it is noted down here. The first part of the question, 1 upon root 7. Root 7 means it is square root. 2 is hidden here. Which number is hidden? 2. That indicates square root. 2 is hidden. If cubic root is there, fourth root is there, fifth root is there, sixth root is there, it will be noted down here. Just before the square root, it is mentioned here. Since square root is there, it is always hidden, but when it is needed, we try to find out which number is hidden here. So ultimately, which root is there? This one is square root. So 2 is hidden here in denominator, and this one is noted down under root 7, and this indicates what? It is irrational number. Under root 7 is irrational number. We have to convert this irrational number into rational number. How? By rationalizing factor. If such type of single digit is square root is given, so one formula is there. If mth root of p is there, so how can we find out rationalizing factor of mth root of square root, mth root of p? How can we find? A formula is there. If this type of numbers are there, so we can find out rationalizing factor of this one, p to the power inside bracket 1 minus 1 upon m. Because if we note in exponential form, so this will be what? P to the power 1 upon m. It can be noted down p to the power 1 upon m in exponential form. It is in third form, square root form. So it is noted mth root of p equals p to the power 1 minus 1 upon m. By the same process, what is written here? It is noted down here in the place of m, which root is here? Square. 2 is hidden here. In the place of p, what is there? 7. So we have to put in the place of 7, in the place of p, what can we note down? 7, and it is 1 minus 1 upon m. 1 minus, and which root is here? See, which root is here? It is square root. So 2 is hidden here. तो it will be 1 minus 1 upon 2. तो square root of under root 7 equals indicates, and for which purpose we are calculating this? To find out the rationalizing factor of square root 7. So this will be 7 will be noted down as it is, and it will be in power 1 minus 1 upon m means 1 minus 1 upon 2. It indicates if you subtract 1 by 2 from 1, it will be 7 to the power 1 by 2, and 7 to the power 1 by 2 again it is square root 7. So rationalizing factor of square root 7 is under root 7. Other number, if other numbers are there, so applying this formula you can find out rationalizing factor of denominator. Now rationalizing factor of this denominator is under root 7. So that rationalizing factor will be multiplied into numerator as well as denominator. As you know, a fraction is there, x upon y, so you can multiply with a fixed number to numerator as well as denominator. It is compulsory to multiply numerator as well as denominator. That's why this rationalizing factor will be multiplied into numerator as well as denominator. If you multiply under root 7 into 1, so that will come under root 7. If under root 7 is multiplied to under root 7, so that will be under square root 7 into 7, it will be the pair of 7. If under root and pair is there, only one element of the pair is taken, so one element is taken, so that will be what? 7 here. In this way, 1 upon 7 can be noted down under root 7 upon 7, and see the position of 7 here. 7 is a kind of rational number. Now this denominator is rationalized. Earlier it was irrational number, now it is rational number. So this denominator is rationalized. It is not compulsory that numerator will also be rationalized, because according to question we have to rationalize only denominator, not of the numerator. By this way, if single element is here, we apply this formula. Sometimes double numbers are given here, two numbers are given in denominators. So for that we have to determine firstly rationalizing factor. See, rationalizing factor of under root a plus under root b is under root a minus under root b. Only this sign will be changed. In between this sign is here, plus sign is there, plus will be converted to minus. Similarly, rationalizing factor of under root a minus under root b will indicate what? Under root a plus under root b. It means what? If here plus is there, in between what will be there? We have to note down minus. If minus is here, it will be plus. This is rationalizing factor of denominator. So firstly we have to calculate rationalizing factor of denominator. See, 1 upon under root 7 minus under root 6. So what will be rationalizing factor of this denominator? It is noted down under root 7 minus under root 6. So rationalizing factor of under root 7 minus under root 6 is, according to this one, what is there? Under root 7 plus under root 6. Rationalizing factor will be multiplied into numerator as well as denominator. See, this rationalizing factor is multiplied to numerator, and the same rationalizing factor is to be multiplied into denominator also, in numerator upon denominator. So both will be multiplied numerator as well as denominator. Now see, if 1 is multiplied to under root 7, so that will be under root 7. Again 1 multiplied to 6, so that will be 6. In between plus sign, the plus sign is noted down. Now see, a minus b and a plus b. Identity is there. Previously we have discussed. In previous exercise we have discussed. If a minus b multiplied a plus b is there, so an identity is used, that will be equal to a square minus b square, because a square minus b square equals in a bracket a minus b, in second bracket a plus b. So here it is given a minus b, a plus b. So this will be a square minus b square. So this will be noted down under root 7 whole square minus under root 6 square. Identity is used, which one? A plus b, a minus b, that is equal to a square minus b square. The value of a is under root 7, the value of b is under root 6. Now see, this will be, numerator will be noted down under root 7 plus under root 6 as it is. Now square root of under root 7, square of under root 7 and square of under root 6. If square m is there, square root m is there and power 2 is there, square root will be removed due to this power 2. So this will become 7 and square of under root 6 will become 6. You know the process. Under root 7 square means under root 7 into under root 7. That is a pair form, and if pair form is there, so after finding out the value, we take only one element out of square root and one element will be 7. And similarly under root 6 square means under root 6 into under root 6, that is pair of under root 6. So one element will be taken and that will be without square root. So this one under root 7 plus under root 6 upon 7 minus 6. 7 minus 6 is what? 1, and upon 1 is not written. So this will become under root 7 plus under root 6 upon 1 is hidden here. And see, if upon 1 is there, so its denominator is 1 and 1 is denominator is what? Rationalized. So this is the answer, under root 7 plus under root 6, and upon 1 is not written, it is hidden. So only this will be noted down, and see, the denominator itself is rationalized. By the same process, we have to solve third part of this one. Now here numerator is 1 upon under root 5 plus under root 2. Now in between plus form is there, so what will be rationalizing factor of this one? So that will be same number will be there, only in between sign will be changed. If plus is there, so that will be minus. If minus is here, so that will be plus. So what will be rationalizing factor? So that will be under root 5 minus under root 2. So this number will be noted down as it is 1 upon under root 5 plus under root 2, and this will be kept inside the bracket. Multiplied by rationalizing factor will be multiplied into numerator as well as denominator. So numerator will be multiplied under root 5 minus under root 2, and denominator will also be multiplied under root 5 minus under root 2. Why we have noted down here from where we have got this number? This one is rationalizing factor. If plus sign is there, so we have put a minus sign in between. There would be no change in these numbers. Number will be same, only this sign will be changed. Here also, if this one is multiplied by under root 5 minus under root 2, so denominator will also be multiplied under root 5 minus under root 2. Now see, 1 multiplied to under root 5, so that will be under root 5. Again 1 multiplied to under root 2, so that is under root 2. In between minus sign is there, so plus multiplied by minus, it is minus sign here. Upon same thing in plus form, same thing in minus form, a plus b, a minus b. Again it will be equal to a square minus b square. A square means square of first term, and what is first term here? Under root 5 minus b square. B square means square of second term, and what is second term here? It is under root 2. The square of under root 2, it is noted down here. Square of under root 5 will be equal to 5. Square of under root 2 is equal to 2. Numerator will be noted down as it is. It cannot be simplified. If any number that are like terms, so those could be simplified, but under root 5 and under root 2 are unlike terms, so we cannot add or subtract here. No like terms are there, so these are already in simplified form, and denominator is 5 minus 2, and both are like, no square root is there, so we can add or subtract. So 5 minus 2 equals 3, so numerator will be noted down as it is, and it will be divided by 3. So that is under root 5 minus under root 2, same thing here, and 5 minus 2 equals 3. So this is equal to, means this 1 upon under root 5 plus under root 2 equals under root 5 minus under root 2 and divided by 3. And see, denominator itself is rationalized here. 3 is a rational number, so this denominator is rationalized. In this way, we have solved the question number, part number 1, part number 2, part number 3. One more part is there, you will solve yourself. Question number, it is the part of question number 5. And question number 4, we have already discussed in previous lecture when semicircle method to represent a number was discussed. So I explained about how to solve. So I think you will be able to solve question number 3. Just I have discussed question number 4, you will solve in classwork copy, but you have to observe the previous lecture when I was explaining about to represent a number, irrational number by semicircle method. The same method will be adopted here. Adopting that, you will solve question number 4 yourself in classwork copy, and question number 5, 1, 2, 3, third part I have solved here, and fourth part also you will solve in your classwork copy. In this way, question number 3, question number 4, and question number 5, all these questions and parts of these questions will be solved in classwork copy. I think we have completed. If any kind of doubt or confusion is there, you will try to remove your confusion, and you will mark there what type of confusion is there. Without any hesitation, without any kind of disturbance, you may ask it by giving remarks in remark column. I will read it and try to remove your confusion if any sort of confusion is there regarding solving exercise 1.5. I hope you will be able to solve question number 3rd, 4th and 5th of this exercise 1.5. Thank you. Have a nice day.